My mom has this amazing record player. I love it to death. She never uses it, so when I find records, I bring them over and I play them there. And I was trying to listen to one, and somebody kept coming in and trying to have a conversation with me, so I was just turning the music down and turning it back up, because how do you hit pause on a record? I'm not that generation. And what I didn't realize is I knew you started at the edge where there was, no divot, because when they're making a master copy in studio, there's a machine that has a little ruby tip on it. It comes down and makes the engravement for the music. Well, if it's not making an engravement because it's not got the vibration, it's not making the sound, then there isn't going to be a ridge, an area where it's got any little divots in it. And if somebody would have just told me, it would have been so much more simple. But, movies had it on there, but, you don't always know. And we do that with child loss. I mean, the dialogue that we have for how to handle situations when somebody comes up to you and goes, hey, I've lost a child, is zero. We have all this kids programming for like, oh, I lost my grandpa, but, what happens after that? And it's, that's an open dialogue. But when somebody has lost a child, we don't like to talk about. Kids aren't supposed to die. So we don't have that kind of information to go off of. And it's shocking. And no matter how shocking that information might be, it's so important to get the response right. And there's a really simple response. Are you ready? When they tell you that I've lost a child, you're going to look them in the eye, and you're going to simply tell them, after, make sure that they've been taken care of medically, and it's not just that reason, but you're going to tell them, I am so sorry for your loss, if you want to. And then if you need to pause and have a moment and maybe give them a hug, or say, hey, I wish I could give you a hug. And, after that, maybe let them talk for a while and then arrange like some meals or something like that. That is how you handle if somebody lost a grandpa or anything else in their life like that. And we've talked about in other videos, we don't approach that loss of a loved one the same way. With child loss, we freeze. And I know I've heard stories about people saying, after a stillborn, somebody has told them, well, you didn't have the child long enough to get attached, thankfully. No, don't say that. Please don't say that. We've had some really insensitive things said. I mean, I've had other stories where people have said, well, at least you lost early, or there could have been something wrong with that child, so that was a blessing. Just don't say that stuff. People are going to hold on to that. It's going to hurt them, and you're probably going to get talked about a little bit later when they're venting. So you don't want to be that person. If you don't want to be that person, just follow the simple rules of how you would treat anybody else with a different loss. And I know it's hard. When you hear that, that's so such a shock. You don't expect it. And even my own mom or me in a situation, when somebody said something, my instance, I was in a really loud listening environment, and I didn't catch what they said. My mom looked at me even after her loss and a few of our own losses, and she just looked at me one time when we started doing all this work, and she just said, I didn't know what to say to you. And if we made this information more accessible, how much healing could we bring to everyone with the recognition of grief and child loss, and practicing just, I'm so sorry for your loss.